hold my beer.
A lot of the things that I do report on this channel actually are the facts. I'm Satan, basically. I understand that as a public figure, my job means that I will be criticized, and I am fine with that. Bull crap, okay? I don't care if you talk about me. I don't care if everyone talks about me. No. Talk about me. I talk about people all the time. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like what I do. You can monetize the hell out of me. I don't care. Talk about me. She's a nasty, vile human being that needs to be held accountable.
Well, hey y'all, and welcome back to Janet being Janet. Yeah, we taking it back to old school days, and I'm just lounging in the cow. Anyways, I found an interesting video talking about the beginning days of Miss Katie and her controversies, so I figured why not go ahead and take a gander at it and see if there's anything that we can add to it. You know how I can talk. I can add to almost anything. We know that. All right, let's just hit play.
Today we're going to be talking about a creator by the name of Without a Crystal Ball, aka Katie Joy.
Or as she's known by herself as Miss Katie. She calls herself Katie. She lost the joy just like we all did a long time ago for her.
Now, Katie Joy, Katie, has 128,000 subscribers on YouTube,
and now then she has a whole lot more, and every time she gets on there, she begs for them to subscribe.
She started her channel about 2 years ago on October 15th, 2018. Before she started her channel, though, she was involved in a lot of other social media platforms. She was a writer for the non-religious section of the website Patheos, which is, from my understanding, just kind of where a bunch of different contributing authors write articles.
Okay, so somewhere on my channel, way back when, I did a video in regards to Miss Katie and I'm gonna call her Katie in this, but anyways, where she went and did an article about the turtles and the straws, and that's when Mr. Todd decided he was going to get on my channel and just talk to me just a little bit, and realized I was different than most people. And you know what? I still like to say and think that I am. I don't know most people that get on here and act like this, but you know what? I'm one of a kind. I know it.
About religious or spiritual topics, but she wrote for the non-religious section, and then she was also a contributing author to a website called The Mighty, which describes itself as a safe, supportive community for people facing health challenges.
And let me just tell you, back when she was writing for Patheos, she decided that's when she was the journalist, the reporter. She's a writer. I mean, she got a lot of her titles, were, I was going to say definitions. Definitions ain't the word, but she got a lot of her titles from there. And she just carried it over to YouTube. But the problem is, Miss Katie, I said I was going to not call her that. Okay, let me correct myself. The problem is, Katie, you're just a commentary channel. And one of your AI summaries told you that.
The people who care for them. Katie also was a blogger for a point in time. She has a son who has special needs. He has a rare disease from what I understand, and so she did a lot of blogging about what that's like, dealing with his diagnosis, different accommodations.
And one moment he's autistic and the next moment he's not. So you know what? Honestly, I can't keep up anymore. I just know my son's autistic.
And essentially just kind of being the parent of a kid with special needs. And eventually she decided to move on from all of that to YouTube. And the reason that she moved from writing for these websites to an actual YouTube channel was to, quote, continue to bring her flavor of commentary on trending topics, news, reality television, criminal investigations, and advocacy for victims of crime.
And see, we already know, we remember all the way back to the Brian Laundrie case. Let me tell you something. I started following Miss Katie years ago when she was talking about the Amber Portwood tapes. And she got lucky, downright lucky that she got those tapes. Her channel would not have grown as much as they did if she wouldn't have got her hands on them. And because of that, and her being able to get her hands on those from her ex, it just so happened that when she started talking to Matt Bear, and Matt Bear brought her a whole lot of new subscribers to her channel. She has a lot of thank you to do whenever it comes to Matt.
So Katie has her main channel Without a Crystal Ball, and she also has a second channel called Katie Joy Live, which
Absolutely not anymore. She deleted every single bit of content off of that channel years ago.
has about 3,800 subscribers, and she started it a month ago. It's fairly new, but it does seem like there's going to be a lot more kind of get to know Katie topics on there, kind of.
And as you can tell, yes, this is an older video, but I wanted to go ahead and bring it to you anyways. Why? Because that's what I do on this channel. I show y'all the history and the history and the past. Okay, Janet, just stop talking. I show you the history and the present, and sometimes we can predict what she's gonna do in the future.
After show content, stuff that she just wants to have casual chats about, kind of going, I mean, I don't think she has a script, but going unscripted essentially. And
oh, now she tries to work off of a script, but she doesn't succeed whatsoever at all. Half the time she's tripping over her daggone words. At least I can admit it, she can't.
You know, doing follow-ups to her main channel videos and giving more of her own opinion is where I see that going. But
and she also had memberships back then, just like she does today. But I don't think she does anything with her memberships, because I don't see any members' lives. Do you? And she also had a Patreon back then where she put even more juicy behind the scenes. But yeah, I didn't join that either.
It's kind of hard to tell because it's only a month old. But anyway, on her main channel, as far as the content over there goes, it's very reminiscent of TMZ. Katie uploads
She is a gossip column. That's all she was. That's all she is now. The only content she has is the sister wives. And guess what? When those go off the air, what are you going to do, Miss Katie? Seriously, what are you going to do? You have switched content so many different times to try to keep up with the times that you got so much wrong. And you're going to continue to get things wrong. Your comment section always goes after you, and you don't like it. I make sure I bring Insta over to YouTube because you like that as your testing ground. You always have.
Between 2 and 4 times per day, according to her About Me section on YouTube.
And I can't say anything anymore. Sometimes I upload 2 to 3 times a day. There ain't nothing I can do. I cover 4 people now.
And I would say that tracks. She uploads very frequently. Her videos aren't any sort of deep dive content or thoroughly laid out.
They're not thoroughly researched anymore either. She just gets on here and runs her mouth, kind of like me. She just don't admit it, like I said.
It doesn't seem like she's following an outline of anything. She's just kind of going on, giving new information as she gets it, and then if she needs to amend it later or add to it later, she does another video. She sits at her computer desk. I think she probably records on a webcam, so she records like right there and then uploads it. As far as what her content...
Oh, she used to go ahead and give people all kinds of suggestions on how to make their channel grow. You know, you have to frame your face just right in the video. And sometimes you'd see this big, huge gap from the top of her screen or the screen to her head. But then she would lecture people like Charlotte on how you got to center yourself. I don't center myself. I don't do none of that. I just get on here and blab. That's what I do. And I guess that's why my channel, you know, isn't as big as hers, because I don't get on here and beg like she does.
Is actually about. It's mostly reality star drama. She's very big into Teen Mom, the Duggars. She's done a lot of videos about the Chrisleys, not only Teen Mom, but like 16 and Pregnant.
And when she got in that whole, you know, rigmarole with Todd Chrisley, I wonder if she had to go back and delete any of the videos where she was talking a bunch of smack about him, and the one where she called him, you know, the not straight. Yeah, you remember that video? I just wonder that. I haven't taken a gander lately, and so I guess I need to go over there and just look for myself.
You know, TLC, MTV reality shows, but she also talks about YouTube drama, and she's been getting more into YouTube drama as of late. I looked through a lot of her older videos, and
she stopped doing all the YouTube drama, and you want to know why? Because she got herself caught in a little bit of a controversy, and she couldn't get herself out of it.
And there was YouTube drama in there, but it was kind of sporadic. However, a few months ago when the whole Micah and James Stauffer situation happened, that kind of gave her channel a really big boost because she
Yes.
talked about it and she did a lot of content surrounding it, and I'm pretty sure that those videos are what boosted her over 100,000 subscribers.
Like I said, I wasn't for certain which one exactly did it, but I want to bring you a video that she did over this entire Micah Stauffer case and just give you an idea of what she was doing back then. So keep your eyeballs out for that. And if you haven't already, go hit that subscribe button again. How dare you unsubscribe from me thinking I ain't going to cover Miss Katie? I told you I wasn't ever going to go anywhere. Goodness gracious, I'm still here.
So I think seeing that happen kind of gave her a bit more motivation to start paying more attention, even more than she already was, to YouTube drama because of how much growth she could experience talking about it. So of course, because Katie talks about people and things that are happening, she's a commentary channel, much
There you go. She's always been a commentary channel, but she is not going to accept that no matter how many people say it to her.
like myself, much like many other people. But something kind of interesting and different about her approach is that she very frequently comes on her channel saying that she has information from people close to the situation.
No, you can get it right. She always says she has a source. No matter what she's talking about, this woman's got a source. I'm telling y'all, sometimes I talk to myself a lot, and I tell y'all, I talk to myself all the time, and I think that's Miss Katie's source most of the time, her own daggum reflection.
She really digs into the people that she's talking about. There was one instance with Micah and James where she claimed that she had been speaking to somebody who was a former neighbor of them. And so I think a lot of people kind of don't want to get into that because it can be kind of messy. But Katie, like, full force dives in and will...
We need to think of another nickname for her besides Miss Katie, because I'm telling you, this lady's right. She is absolutely downright horribly messy, and we know that. And whenever I bring you the whole video on Micah Stauffer and all that, I'll do a little bit more explaining if you're not up to date on what happened with that situation.
Look up court records, will contact old neighbors, will contact siblings, she gets into the source as much as you possibly could. And when it comes to that, I understand wanting to get as much exclusive information as you possibly can, because
Do you know some of her exclusives come from articles? Did you know that? Some of them do. I've caught her a couple of times doing that. Writing exclusive across in the title, and then it just being, oh, well, I went to page 6. Oh, well, this one. How old is she? Oh, she got, was it the son that she got struck for? I do believe so. She had to fight that strike, and there was another one as well. We never expected them to come out and do the whole dirk on a channel. They did it anyways, and she got out of it.
because that will set your content apart from what most other content creators are doing. But at the same time, because she posts so frequently and she is always updating and saying, oh, I talked to this person, I talked to that person, they gave me this info, no one else is saying this, that's her approach. But because she posts so frequently, it makes me wonder how credible the information actually is, because like I said, it just seems like for so many different topics, she has a source.
That's what I was saying, and I don't see how these people trust her. So many people have been burned by her, absolutely just torched by her, and people still go to her and say, hey, I want to tell you my story. Why would they do that? We all wondered about the whole Tati Westbrook lawsuit. Oh, I don't even know if she talks about it in here, but let me go ahead and say it, because I haven't watched this in a long time. But anyways, whenever it came down to Tati, she did have a source. We just all didn't believe her.
Close to the person. And so I don't know how reliable that info is. I don't know how much Katie is vetting these people, if the people coming to her or that she's going to actually know the truth, actually have firsthand experience with this person, actually want to get the truth out there. And
no, all she cares about is a story. She cares about a headline. And y'all remember, everything in here is just my opinion and only my opinion. And that's all it's ever going to be, Miss Katie. This is for entertainment purposes. And yeah, I'm not using your video. I'm using somebody else's. But you know what? They do a dang good description of you, even back then.
Instead of, spinning the story however they want to do it. I mean, for me, I think about people who aren't on YouTube and aren't into everything and don't want to make themselves well known when it comes to a specific situation. And I just find it odd that so many of them are willing to give her as much information as they do.
And see, that should be the scary part to everybody, because she can't wait to throw somebody underneath that bus. She absolutely can. If she gets in a tight bind, ooh, you best bet you're going to have tire marks on your back.
Could be all legitimate, but it could be that some of the sources are not trustworthy, or there's a possibility, I'm not saying that this is what's happening, but I think there is a possibility that Katie could be exaggerating some information that she found, or
Miss Katie, never! Why would she want to do that? Would she want to embellish on something just to get herself some more views? Would she want to do clickbait constantly to get herself some more views? We couldn't say that about Katie, now could we?
or possibly saying that there are sources when there aren't, and maybe some of the information that the sources, she's presenting that the sources gave her is accurate, but she wanted to make it seem even more like rock solid by saying.
But she does this thing of, oh, guess what? I have a source. You have to trust me. If you don't trust me, that's your fault. Guess what? I have another source. Somebody's talking to me. They just want to be anonymous. It's always an anonymous source. Always. And sometimes it ends up biting her in the behind because she says stuff she ain't supposed to be saying.
Saying, oh, a person told me this, instead of, I just found this. And like I said, I'm not saying that that's what she's doing.
Well, that's sometimes what she does. She's, like I said, exclusive, but actually she just happened to run across it, or she was digging. She did a lot of digging, just like she does today.
But as a critical viewer,
you can't be critical and watch Miss Katie, because if you do, then she's going to come after you. She don't like anybody who talks against her.
That thought ran through my head of, are these people even real? Just putting that out there. Now, throughout the course of Katie's career on YouTube, she has been involved in quite a lot of drama, and some of that is going to be natural. Creators disagree, they have problems with each other. Like, drama is going to happen for most people
She is almost a drama channel. She has almost gotten herself to that degree.
throughout their time on YouTube, especially when you are in the commentary sphere. I am very fortunate that I have not had any sort of drama pop up or disagreements, or anybody who I've spoken about contacting me and
let me tell you something. I can talk about Amber Lynn all I want. Nobody comes in my channel saying anything. I talk about Foodie all I want. Nobody comes in my channel saying anything. I talk about Anna. Nobody says anything. The moment I talk about Miss Katie, she's got a whole following behind her wanting me to just shut my mouth, telling me I'm going to get karma laid upon me. Guess what? I'm married. I got kids and I have a farm. I get karma every single day.
having a problem with me, so I'm very grateful, but I acknowledge that it definitely could happen at some point. So some drama is normal. Yes. Katie is involved in a lot, and I feel like it's very hard to pin down where exactly everything is happening and what's going wrong and who's at fault and all of that, because for the most part she's able to fly under the radar.
See, she could be neck deep, absolutely neck deep, and then all of a sudden, somehow or another, she digs herself out of that hole. One way or another, everything just kind of flies off her back. And with this whole lawsuit that's going on with 7M, it just keeps getting extended and extended. She postpones everything she possibly can just so she doesn't have to take accountability for her actions.
Yes, she has 128,000 subscribers. That is...
So what? Who cares? She has more than that now, but she still ain't got the same amount as Emily D. Baker, and we all know she was jealous as ever of her, and I think she still is.
A large number, but in terms of YouTube and the standard of what drama channels will talk about, she's a smaller channel, and they're not going to go out of their way, I don't think, to find people like that in most cases, or maybe they do hear about her.
Oh, she will use any small channel if she gets anybody on her side, which most channels are not on her side whatsoever at all. It's hard to find a Katie supporter on here, but you know what? If she can use a small channel and stomp all over them to get to the top, she's going to do it.
They know about the drama, but they think, well, I'd rather talk about somebody bigger because I think it's going to get more clicks and more views and more money, which it's a job, so they can talk about whoever they want. But I think there is a lot of stuff going on with Katie and the way that she conducts herself on YouTube that should be talked about. And
absolutely, that's why there's a whole entire community against her called the Anti-KJ community. Everybody turns against Miss Katie. I was a viewer of Miss Katie, most like. I keep saying Miss Katie. I'm sorry. I know it annoys some people, but it's just stuck in my vocabulary at this point. Just like me, most people were a viewer of hers, and then she did something just to turn us off, to where we just didn't want to watch her, didn't want to have anything to do with her, and then that's when we found other channels that talk about her, and so it's a lot more convenient on their channel than it is on hers.
A lot of the less mainstream commentary channels have been talking about her. They've been calling her out. There's so many videos about Katie on YouTube. It's a lot to go through. I watched
And if I continue talking about Miss Katie like I said I'm going to, there's going to be a lot more.
a lot of videos and read a lot of articles, and I'm going to link it all down below. But there are some newer commentary channels or smaller commentary channels or people who've had interactions with her in the past putting this information out there, and they're all bringing their own experience to the table. But I think that it's helpful to kind of have it all under one roof, to be able to say, here's kind of a general overview of a majority of these issues.
And most of us are all over on YouTube. Most of us, that's where we pretty much stay, is on YouTube. Sometimes we have social media other places, but you get the most content whenever you come on YouTube. So technically we are under one roof.
Here you go, because I'm telling you, hours. I spent hours watching videos, sometimes twice.
You might as well just spend days at this point, because Miss Katie's always doing something different to go after somebody else. It doesn't matter who it is. If she wants to go after them, she's going to go after them.
Sometimes 3 times, sometimes thinking I hadn't seen a video and then starting it and being like, oh yeah, I saw this one already. So it's a lot of piecing together, but like I said, it's important. So this video is not going to be an all-encompassing list of every single altercation that
there is absolutely no way you can do every single thing that Miss Katie's done. There's no way you can do a video on it. It does not matter. You're always going to leave something out, because there's always something that you forget. She's done so many things
Katie has gotten into, but it's going to be kind of a conglomeration of some of the most important controversies as well as some of the most recent. And the interesting thing is that a lot of them are kind of strung together, like they intersect at some point and they all meet up. Not
because she has the same daggum pattern. She will make friends with people and she will pretend to be a friend, but as she just recently came out and said, she was scorned by her best friend years ago, and nothing's been the same. So no, she doesn't know what friendship is.
all of them, but a good portion of them do. And the thing is, Katie has been accused of and exhibited some pretty suspect behavior, and I think it's important to have conversations about that when we see it and think about what the kind of crux of it all is. Why is this a problem?
Why do you think so many people are talking about Miss Katie? Why do people call her out all the time? Because people need to know exactly who she is. And right now, all she does is pretend to be a good person when she gets over here, especially whenever it comes to besties.
What can you do to make it better? This isn't to say that I hate Katie or that I want any.
I don't hate anybody. I know there are plenty of people that watch my channel that do absolutely hate her, and hey, that's all on you. But I was brought up not to hate, because you know what, that's more on you than it is on them. But I ain't gonna tell you how to feel when it comes to her.
Anything bad, or I want her platform to be taken away.
Well, those people that's been trying to get her platform taken away, especially on like change.org, and it never goes through. She has a right to free speech just like we do. She just don't like it when we use it on her.
It's just not. That's not my gig. But I have seen a pretty upsetting pattern of behavior. It's pretty disturbing the way that she acts sometimes.
Upsetting and disturbing. No. Crazy, wild, weird antics. Yes.
So let's have a chat about it. We are going to start out with the controversy that was the most confusing to me and is probably one of her oldest. If you've watched videos of other people criticizing Katie Joy, you've probably at least heard of this. But it's not super easy to find out what actually happened. So the broad stroke of this is that Katie...
I have no idea which controversy she's going to talk about. I'm telling you, there were so many even back then. And this was like 5 years ago when this video was made.
He has been accused of supporting and or helping one business partner steal a YouTube channel away from another business.
Steve McRae. Yeah, I remember this one. And before I left YouTube for a while, because some of y'all don't know, I found my biological father. And so I left YouTube for a while and, started a relationship with the family. And the whole Steve McRae thing was going on before I left. And I don't know at this point, I haven't checked on it here lately.
Partner. Back in late 2017, a YouTube channel by the name of The Non Sequitur Show was started by business partners Steve McRae and Kyle Curtis. And the idea behind this channel was that opinions are sacred. And so they wanted to provide a platform for people with differing opinions on subjects like parenting, medical decisions, and religion to come together and have conversations.
And why would you want Miss Katie to have anything to do with your channel? You don't want her on your channel. You don't want her on your panel. You don't want her anywhere, because if she comes around you and around your channel and you accept her, it automatically makes you look negative.
Now I'm going to read this next part directly from thegreatdebatecommunity.com. This piece details pretty much everything that happened, and it was written by Steve McRae, but I found it to be reputable. He linked different sources, and the way it was written and the screenshots that were in there, I found it to be believable, and I found it to track with what I've seen other people say and some of what Katie has even said herself. So I know it was written.
And she says, Katie says a lot of things, and then she'll turn around, and once it gets her in trouble or she gets a little bit of backlash, she dirty deletes whenever she's on social media. She absolutely dirty deletes. She ended up having to get off Twitter because all they did was attack her over there every time she decided to make a comment, because nobody believed anything she had to say. Right now, the only other platform she has is Instagram. Facebook, her original Facebook, was taken from her. It was hacked. And so then she had to create a new one. The thing is if you ever take a gander at her old Facebook account, people still think it's Miss Katie. They absolutely do. And they don't understand why she posts what she posts.
And by somebody who was involved, but I am inclined to believe it. During the run of the show, Mr. Curtis had a vlogger named Katie Joy Paulson join him to discuss a potentially extremely dangerous fermented drink called chili juice. Not long after,
Do y'all remember that? I remember that. That was, I never got on board with that one.
Mr. Curtis unilaterally made a decision to make Mrs. Paulson a regular co-host to the show in a separate segment called The Smoking Nun.
And if they would have watched anything about her prior to putting her on there, they would understand that she shouldn't have been on there in the first place. Like I said, you don't want her anywhere associated with your channel.
While at the time I was not a fan of Mrs. Paulson, I didn't have any outspoken objections to Mr. Curtis and Mrs. Paulson doing their own show together on the channel, as I was under the impression that eventually they would have a spin-off channel of their own. During the entire run of The Smoking Nun, I had only appeared with Mrs. Paulson twice, both times being produced by our producer, David Fulton.
Now, y'all remember, these are her opinions and these are her words. I'm just adding to them whenever I possibly can.
Professionally known as Booleanator. Now back to my recap of what happened. On June 11th, 2019, Steve McRae claims that Kyle Curtis revoked both his access and the producer's access to the channel and stole $60,000. And that $60,000 would be from AdSense money as well as donations from people who watched the channel.
And y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe Steve has gotten that channel back now. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, like I said, I was gone for a little while, it's not as profitable as it was whenever he had it the first time.
Now, this is obviously a problem because Kyle was not the only founder of the channel. He does not have the right to simply just cut off his business partner's access, nor is he entitled to that full $60,000, but he took it anyway. A few days after this, Katie claimed on that same channel that Steve had harassed her by making suggestive comments to her that made her feel uncomfortable, and that he was committing fraud by failing to report income from the channel.
And let me tell you something that made me feel uncomfortable. Whenever I watched her live and she was talking about, digits, digits, finger digits, and a child. That right there absolutely made me feel 100% uncomfortable. But she's going to tell you why Steve made her feel uncomfortable.
Even though Kyle took all of that money and did not pay Steve. She said that he was lying about not getting any of that money because he was on disability and he didn't want to have to report it as income. Steve said that all of this is false. He has never been on disability, and Katie was kind of trying to spin it because she was saying, well, Steve wants to be paid in cash so he doesn't have to report it. And Steve is saying, I don't care how you get it to me. If it's cash, if it's a check, if it's a money order, I want what is owed to me. And he also denies the claims of making sexually suggestive comments to Katie.
And see, here's the thing. I don't remember everything about the whole Steve and Katie thing. I really, really do not. So I can't add anything to that whenever it comes to it. Most of y'all have been watching Miss Katie a lot longer than I have. I've only been on this, I think it's been like 4 years, somewhere like that. I still haven't checked to see when my channel was created or this channel was created. I don't remember when I I know that I started doing my channel of Anne Boleyn just a few months ago. I think about 6 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. But Miss Katie, I can't remember.
Now, Katie supported Kyle in this whole situation, and so she was a large part of all of the court hearings and everything legally that went on, and she definitely doubled down on pretty much everything that she was saying about him, and Curtis continued to refuse to pay what Steve was owed. But on January 23rd, 2020, a partial judgment was reached by the court that found Kyle Curtis liable for fraud, fraudulent conversion, unfair and deceptive trade practices, breach of fiduciary duty, and breach of contract. So Steve claims that he's going to be seeking around $100,000.
And I don't remember exactly how much Steve got off of it. Like I said, I'm bringing this as her controversy. That's the reason why I'm bringing it to you.
Of payment in total for the settlement. And around that same time, Katie issued somewhat of an apology. She did kind of apologize for knowing that Kyle was doing something wrong. And
Katie, an apology, those two words do not go into a sentence together. Never has, never will.
I just wanted to believe my friend, but I knew something was off. She deleted the video pretty quickly after she posted it, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Dirty delete. She always does. She says, don't hold me accountable. Don't you dare find any of my dirt on me. I don't want you to see any of my dirt. Even though it's already out there, you can't get rid of it, Katie.
And despite issuing that partial apology, she did not back down from her claims of harassment. So we know that Steve was innocent of trying to be fraudulent. He wasn't lying. He never received the income, and he got a favorable decision by the judge when it came to the business dealings. Now, as for the suggestive comments that Katie said made her feel uncomfortable and harassed, the details of them have changed over time. Steve claims that they kind of evolved and ended up being different than what she had said initially.
It's amazing how one story can start out one way with her, and then all of a sudden she can add to it, and add to it, and add to it. But the whole problem is each time she adds to it, she's got to cover up the very first thing she said. It's just an ongoing pattern with her, and all you got to do is pay attention to her, and you'll see exactly what's happening every time she posts something. And she's doing it right now with Taylor Swift.
Which can happen if you remember details or you weren't super clear the first time you shared your experience. The two complaints that Katie had against Steve, the core of those issues were that at one point they were on a call together before filming for the channel, and Steve made her uncomfortable by saying the word penis. No additional detail was given. The second complaint that Katie said made her feel uncomfortable is when she and Steve were on a private phone call together, and he described a porn star as being hot as it appeared.
This is the reason why you don't have a conversation with Miss Katie, okay? You just don't have one, especially if it's over the phone. You just do not do it. You don't do it in text messages. You don't do it over Insta. You don't do it in DMs. You don't do it in the email. You don't do it anywhere. Why? Because she can spin it on you.
Appears as though the phrasing Katie referenced is accurate. That happened, and we'll get into it. But she said that it was on a phone call, and Steve claims that they have never been on a private phone call together at any point throughout their time knowing each other, so that part is false. However, I believe this interaction somewhat happened on Twitter. In my personal opinion, this is kind of something that Katie does a lot, where she will share a screenshot or share information that inadvertently proves the opposite of what she's trying to prove.
And she doesn't even realize it when she does it. Somebody has to come back and go, what do you mean? What are you talking about? What are you trying to say with this? It's almost every single time. If she gets backlash on social media, not so much on YouTube, but whenever she goes on another platform, if she gets backlash, she will automatically just delete it, or she'll backtrack, or she'll say, no, let me tell you why I'm right and you're wrong. Because you cannot disagree with Miss Katie when it comes to the comments.
Essentially, Katie posted a screenshot of an interaction that she and Steve had earlier in the year, and her current caption for this interaction was, "Mob mentality is toxic. I shared that more than one occasion I was uncomfortable by things said to me by Steve that were sexual in nature. Ask other women if they had experiences like that or felt demeaned by him, then call me a liar. I know I'm not alone." And the tweets that she had posted a screenshot of were talking about a porn star named Mercedes Carrera. They had her as a guest on the show, and so
I will not get on here and lie to you. If I don't know something, I will tell you I do not know. I did not follow it that closely.
Steve said about Mercedes, "She was amazing, brilliant, funny, personable, hot as a great time was had by all, and we look forward to having her back in October, her schedule permitting." And Katie responded, "Wow, she's got some boobs though."
We have heard her talk about certain kind of relations with, other people, not her and other people, but other people's relations with other people. And she hasn't ever once strayed away from that. She hasn't been scared of it. She's been just straight up plain up, and she will tell you, okay, well, this person did this to this. Remember Sophie? Yeah, remember that? She's been in so many controversies. I'm telling you, one video ain't going to cover it all.
Now, seeing Katie respond like that, I am fully aware that it is 100% possible that Katie was uncomfortable by Steve's comment, and she didn't want to seem like the wet blanket who felt uncomfortable at language that maybe she wouldn't have used, or...
Oh, we know she'll use that language. She ain't afraid of it. Absolutely she's not.
At a compliment worded in that way, and she was like, I don't want to be the person that says they felt uncomfortable and it has to have a problem, like, I'll just play into it.
Nope.
I understand that in her mind.
Nope.
That could have been seen as a safe response, and so
Nope.
That's why she said it.
Nope.
On the other hand, though, knowing everything else that I know about Katie outside of this situation, I will acknowledge that it is possible that Katie took this interaction that she didn't necessarily have a problem with and wanted to twist it a little bit by saying it was over the phone instead of on Twitter, and saying how
she twists everything like a daggone pretzel. The only problem is she can't ever connect the ends together.
uncomfortable it made her feel, even if that wasn't necessarily true, to make Steve look bad, because Steve was suing Kyle Curtis, who she is friends with. Both of those things are possibilities, but in all...
And it makes you question what happened to their friendship. Are they friends anymore? Are they close anymore? Do they talk behind the scenes anymore? From what I understand, no, they don't. So that's another friendship down the drain.
all reality, I wasn't there. I'm not her. I don't know how she felt. I don't know what happened. I literally cannot definitively say which version of events is more accurate, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
If you're reading something from Miss Katie, you might as well just assume that it's not accurate. Just assume that way. So if it comes out accurate, you get surprised. But usually it's more her opinion, but stated as a fact.
But I will put in the description box a link to the website that shares Steve's experience, and I will also link various other channels and websites that I got information from. As always, just because I am putting links to somebody else's channel or another website in my description does not mean that I have any affiliation with them, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I endorse them either. Most, if not all, of the YouTubers that I'm putting in there, I've watched a few of their videos. I haven't watched any.
I didn't check her description box or anything like that, so I don't know who all she talked to or, what all she got into. But I know at one point Steve wrote a big, huge, long letter, his manifesto or something like that in regards to the whole situation.
Any of them necessarily long enough to say that I recommend them and that I suggest you watch them.
Well, me, it's a recommendation. I recommend you don't watch Miss Katie. It doesn't matter what you think of her. You may think she's credible. You may think this. You may think that. Instead of going and watching her, watch reaction channels or people that talk about Miss Katie. Go ahead and watch them, and they'll show you the real side of her.
However, if you want to check out their channels, see what content they have, and you decide that you like them, great. sounds good. Like, I'm not going to link you to anybody who I disapprove of or who I think is lying in their content without making it known. But I wanted to put that out there. Hi, additional information B here. I've learned some new information since filming this video, so
There's always new information. That's what I'm saying. You cannot do just one video and catch everything in one video. It is impossible, especially if she was trying to do a video this day and age. Absolutely not.
I wanted to pop in and give you an update and a little bit of my opinion on it. In June of this year, of 2020,
That tells you how old the video is. That does.
Katie was granted a restraining order against Steve McRae. It was a temporary restraining order for 2 years on the grounds of online harassment and threatening behavior. It was granted in an ex parte hearing, which means that Steve was not allowed to go in and present his case. He wasn't allowed to defend himself. The judge basically...
That's the way she likes it, though. She doesn't like anybody to go up against her. Don't you dare go up against her, because she will make your life a living HE double hockey sticks and be proud of it.
Looked at what Katie had given them, said, yes, this is grounds for a restraining order, and granted it. After that happened, Steve had 20 days to essentially present his own evidence in order to get that dismissed, and it looks like that's what he did, because the restraining order was dismissed without prejudice. And then both Steve and Katie posted essentially the same kind of screenshot of the dismissal on their social media and have...
And see, here's the thing. She still today, she loves posting legal documents. Absolutely loves posting them. She loves posting any kind of discovery. If there's anything that she can post, she is going to post it. Just because she's got subs over there, or not even subs, they're called followers over on Insta. Just because she has some over there that are interested in certain topics, whenever she brings it over here, nobody cares.
Not spoken about it since, because in that caption, it said it was dismissed without prejudice, which means that at some point Katie could bring that same information to a judge again and be granted a restraining order if it is found to be valid. But they also said that there was pending civil litigation between Katie and Steve, as well as Katie and another person named Trina, who I believe to be the owner of a YouTube channel called Sherelle's World, and they've also had issues. But that is...
Y'all remember Sherelle's World against Miss Katie? You remember that? Ooh, that one got juicy.
It's a completely different story. In any case, there...
And it's a story that she didn't get into in this video because it's too difficult to get into. Because from what I understand, them two are just fine right now.
There's still legal action, like pending legal action going on. And despite the fact that Katie engaged in shady behavior and essentially...
Oh, never! Miss Katie being shady now. How dare you?
really helped somebody steal a channel and supported them. Regardless of that, harassment is not okay. So
Nope,
me defending Steve in one matter is not me saying that I think he is right to continue to harass her if that is what he is doing. I think that there must be some legitimacy to the claim if the restraining order was granted in the first place, but obviously we don't know everything, especially...
And I am keeping my daggum mouth shut. I absolutely am. I rarely do it, but this time, it's gonna happen.
Especially because it was dropped. It's kind of sticky. It's kind of tricky. If Steve is harassing Katie, that is not okay. I understand that he may be upset, especially with the whole business thing, and even more so with the fact that she accused him of sexual harassment, which he claims to have never happened. But at the same...
It's kind of he said, she said at some point is what this person's getting to. And you got to be careful. I'm telling you, if you talk about her in any way, you have to be careful. Because if she can flip the script, flip the narrative and make it on her, she's the goody one that comes out of it. You know, that's what matters to her. But here's the thing. Let me explain something to you, Katie. Nobody is 100% good. Nobody is 100% bad until they start making little things like what you do and cause little antics and little show outs like you do. That makes people think you are 100% bad.
Same time, if that's what he's doing, how does he think that makes him look? So again, I don't know all the details. I don't know the extent to which she claims that she is being harassed.
And this was before my time on YouTube. Absolutely beforehand.
But if she is, it's not okay. And just because you were found to be in the right when you put your lawsuit against Kyle Curtis and you won, it doesn't entitle you to harass them. It does not give you the right to continue to go after
Kind of sounds like she's taking up for Miss Katie right now, doesn't it? It does. It does just a little bit, but I don't think that's the point of the video.
them and not let it go. As far as the sexual harassment allegations, I stand by what I said. I don't know whether or not they happened, but I gave you the information
Same.
I could find, and that's really what we have to leave it at. I always want to believe somebody when they say that they felt threatened. Not that I want them to have felt that way, but I don't want to believe that someone's a liar when they are talking about something that is potentially something that really hurt them and made them feel uncomfortable and damaged.
So what about the times that she made us feel uncomfortable? What about the times she said things that just, I had to quit watching her at some points whenever she was doing her lives. I couldn't sit and watch them. I absolutely couldn't, because I just automatically thought to myself, I can't do this. I absolutely can't do it.
Them. I've added 2 additional sources to my source list. I will say that I do believe that they have prejudice against Steve in the terms that they are talking about, but at the same time, a lot of my other sources appear to have prejudice against Katie, so I think it's
Imagine that. People against Katie. People without a crystal ball. I think you find that everywhere, no matter what platform you're on.
only fair to present both sides and tell you to do with them what you will. Back to the video. Now on to the next controversy that we are going to cover. Katie's run-in with Angelica Oles. We talked about this one a few months back, and
I thought about doing a video on that and where she was calling out Katie, but I haven't decided if that's something I'm going to dive into or not, because like I said, there's way too many, and I'm just kind of doing nitpicking as I go along on, okay, let's do this one but not do this one. I'm getting there.
In early July, when it first came out, we had a brief conversation about everything that happened, but I wanted to put it in here in case you didn't see that live stream. Plus, I think this situation is a very good indication of the kind of attitude that Katie has when it comes to how she interacts with and receives criticism from.
She can't take criticism. If it's criticism, in her eyes, it's complete and total hatred. That's what it is. She doesn't believe she does anything wrong. Absolutely not. Think about it. If she said that she was wrong, think about what that would do to her audience. Just think about it. But she won't ever admit it.
Fellow creators. So in the beginning of July, Katie was receiving a lot of criticism about the Sanders Kennedy situation, which we will get into next. But
oh, I know plenty about that. Absolutely plenty. I was around.
Essentially, Angelica Oles was reporting on what happened, and she said, not a lot of other people talk about this creator, not a lot of other people that I know watch her or know about her, and I've only actually had one interaction with Katie from Without a Crystal Ball.
And one interaction is way too many, in my opinion.
Here's what it is. And Angelica proceeded to tell her audience that when she first got on YouTube, she first started out, she was kind of a dummy, and she made the mistake of using about 30 seconds of content from Katie Joy. It was an article she had written for Pathos. She used it, she showed it in her video, and she did not credit her source. Obviously, as far as creator etiquette goes, this is kind of a bad look. If you're going to use somebody else's content within your video, you should at least say who it's from.
Oh yeah, this one's from B. Haney. I ain't got a problem saying exactly who did this.
Verbally in the video, or if you're going to go a little bit above and beyond, put a link to the specific video that you used in your description box or in your pinned comment, so that way they do receive credit for the work that they've done.
And this is all credit to her. All I'm doing is just updating the whole entire thing. If I can update it or add to it, that's what I'm doing.
Angelica admitted this. She said, "This was on me. I shouldn't have done it. I made a mistake."
You do not admit that you make a mistake whenever it comes to her. Don't admit it, because she's going to chew on it and chew on it like a dog with a bone.
But essentially what happened was Angelica used some of Katie's content as a supporting point in her video, and then Katie decided to copyright strike Angelica's video. And the difference between a copyright claim and a copyright strike is that a copyright strike puts your channel in danger of being taken down. If you get 3 strikes, you will lose your channel. A copyright claim, which would
That's why I'm extra careful now when I talk about Miss Katie. That's why I interrupt her a lot. I try to talk about any point that I possibly can talk about. I try to bring her videos to you or bring anything like that to you because I've already been in trouble with her once and I don't want to get in trouble again with anybody on YouTube.
Would have been more appropriate would have given Angelica the opportunity to leave that video up. Plus, Katie could have made some revenue because she could have claimed the revenue saying, she used my work, I want to be compensated for it, and she could get money from all of the AdSense that Angelica earned from that video.
And I have a couple of my old videos that right now that's happening on. They're just taking the money off of it, and it's all Miss Katie content, and it has nothing to do with her. It's the music or something along those lines that I used while I was doing the video, because most of them I was out with my horses anyways. So that's what's happening. They didn't go and strike me. They're just taking the ad revenue, which they're so old. I mean, going through them and deleting them is going to just be absolutely pointless.
Plus, then she doesn't have a copyright strike on her channel that puts her in danger of being deleted. So when Angelica saw that Katie had...
And I always say the only one that would be the one to come after my channel and delete it would be Miss Katie. No matter who else I talk about, the only person that has a problem with me talking about them is Miss Katie. The only problem, and you know what, I'm a lot nicer to her than a lot of people are. And so why she wants to come after my channel... I don't know. I could be downright rude, hateful, and meanness, but I try not to be that way. Miss Katie sometimes makes me that way, though.
Put a copyright strike on her video. She reached out and said, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm paraphrasing here, but hey, I'm so sorry. I should have credited you. Can you please remove the strike from the video and then do it as a copyright claim instead, so you can still get, credit, you can still be compensated for your work, and then I will pay you based on the views that it has right now before it got taken down.
It's not about views to her. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's about blocking you from your opinion.
And I will do a calculation and pay you for your segment, essentially, in this video. And Katie said no. And the thing is, Katie could have reached out to Angelica and tried to fix it that way. I mean, really.
You can be a decent human being behind the scenes of YouTube, but that's not who she is. On screen or off.
Striking it is kind of crossing a line. She most certainly could have claimed it and could have been compensated for it while still letting the video be up. And then she could have probably gotten even more viewers if Angelica had edited in her description box, this is from this person, like I got this source from this person, because more people would have gone to Katie's channel.
But that's not how she thinks about it. People leave her channel now because she's always saying that she is adamantly true. And you know what? In my intro, it says most of the things that I report on are the facts, or a lot of things I report on. She's not saying everything I report on is the facts. I'm giving you the facts. I only give you the facts. That's not what she says. And she also does not issue any kind of disclaimer to where, hey, these are my opinions and only my opinions. There are a lot of people that take her opinions as they are fact.
But in any case, Katie said no. The strike remained on Angelica's channel, and that was kind of the end of it. And Angelica just told this because it was her experience with Katie, and Katie isn't necessarily in mainstream drama news very often, and so she'd never shared the story before.
Oh, now she'll do anything to even get in the news. It doesn't matter who she has to contact. She wants the spotlight. Back then, she wanted the spotlight. Negative or positive, she wanted the spotlight. But one thing is, you do not talk bad about Katie Joy. You do not. Because if you do, she's going to come at you.
I don't know. Angelica's not a news channel. She's free to share her own experiences with other creators, and that's what she did. However, Without a Crystal Ball was not happy that Angelica did this, despite the fact that Katie Joy talks about other people's downfall and their bad decisions and their mistakes literally every day. She didn't like the fact that Angelica had brought this up, and she tweeted, @AngelicaOles.
Imagine that, her getting on social media and going after somebody. Imagine that. Could you believe Miss Katie would do something like that? Oh, no, not our favorite reporter, our favorite journalist, our biggest celebrity. There's no way she wouldn't want to be talked about now, is there?
Tell me why bringing up a valid copyright strike from more than 14 months ago is at all relevant to your video today. It's not. You deserved the strike then and offered to pay me to remove it. Why would I trust a stranger to pay me who had already stolen my work? So she was pretty upset, and then she quote tweeted that a little bit later and said, think about what she offered. She had already taken my work, then wanted me to remove a
For 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Most people are not like that. They're like, as long as you go ahead and transform my content, that's perfectly fine by me. But you have to transform it in one way or another. That's usually what people do whenever it comes to YouTube. Hey, yeah, go ahead, use mine, but I want you to add to it. You've got to put your commentary in there. You've got to do something to change it up. You can't just play my entire video.
strike, which she deserved, then offered to pay me, but in order to do so, I had to release the strike and trust that she'd pay me. Yeah, okay. So the way that Katie is phrasing this and presenting it is that Angelica essentially tried to bribe her to remove the copyright strike, whereas Angelica is saying, and I kind of believe Angelica more,
I do too.
Again, with what I know about Katie.
I absolutely believed in Angelica after watching just Katie Joy for just a short amount of time. I automatically believe, I almost believe anybody over Katie. It doesn't matter what they say. Sometimes I believe almost everything that is said about her.
And what I know about Angelica, this is the way that I'm leaning, but I cannot say for a fact. Angelica said, remove the strike, you can have the claim, and then you can get paid for it. Like, this is your work, you deserve to be compensated for it, I should have credited you, which sounds like a good deal to me, but Katie apparently didn't think so, and she left the copyright strike on, which in my opinion was going too far.
Oh, she can't help but go too far. She absolutely can't. Whenever she got strikes, she went crazy. I even did the video for you about them, going after her. Ooh, she went crazy because somebody was coming after her daggum channel. That's something you don't do. You don't take away her income from her son. You do not do that. It's not about taking the BMW away from Miss Katie. It's that, oh, no. Don't you take that money from my family. Well, I'm sure your family needed a fancy car now, didn't it?
There should be a sense of common courtesy between creators, and I get that.
Common courtesy and common sense, something that they just don't, that they don't exist, okay? They don't.
Their first interaction wasn't great, but it could have been handled in a way that would have left both of them feeling happy, feeling like, okay, we resolved this is great, and they wouldn't have had any sort of, not animosity, but who wants to know that there are people out there that they don't like and don't get along with.
She beefs with almost every single channel she gets involved with. I mean, goodness gracious, go check out my video about John Yates and her. John called her out several times. He didn't have a problem, and the thing is she will scare away little channels faster than ever. She will scare them away. She'll do whatever she has to do to get at them, because the bigger channels, those are the ones that she doesn't like talking about her, because she's scared of them because they have more reach, just like Cece Suarez. She has more reach, and Katie did not like that.
Because of a mistake. It could have ended in a positive way, as opposed to
there is no positivity when it comes to her.
To the way that it did.
Yeah, there's a part 2, but I didn't get very much out of the part 2. I'll watch it again from my memory. I'll watch it again, and we'll see if there's anything I need to say. But anyways, let's go ahead and let this finish out. There you go. That's exactly who the video is by. But anyways, I want to go ahead and say to you, I hope you have a good day, night, weekend, holiday, year, whenever you might be watching this, and remember to smile today. Or make somebody else smile, because it really can make a difference. Absolutely it can. You know that. I tell y'all that all the daggum time. Y'all go find a mirror and don't be like Miss Katie. Actually smile in it, and if you have to have a conversation with yourself, hey, it's perfectly healthy to make yourself happy. All right, guys, y'all make sure you have a good one for me. Bye. Let me hit the right button. Bye.